Ladies and gentlemen, no chief minister or prime minister or any leader actually likes any protest against them. It is bad publicity. So whether it is Maharashtra or Bengal, leaders will somehow try and stop the protesters. In the best of circumstances, they'll try and send them home. 2 weeks of relentless protests against the Kolkata horror have been very bad optics for Didi. And today, when Dada, there's a Saurav Ganguly, wanted to show solidarity with these protesters, he was hit wicket by Didi's googly. The Bengal police told Sourav Ganguly that they didn't have enough people to give him security. So, essentially, they made it impossible for him to join protests. Not once, the Bengal police did this twice. Your most famous sportsperson wants to join a protest against you. So, obviously, you will not have enough cops to secure him. Ladies and gentlemen, just mind this. This is coming a day after the Supreme Court told the Bengal government very categorically not to unleash its power on protesters. Meanwhile, TMC leaders continue to unleash threats and nonsense against protesting doctors. Today, Kunal Ghosh has made a bizarre comparison between Pulwama and RG Kar and doctors and soldiers, essentially accusing them of being anti-national. Listen to him and make what you can of what he's trying to say.
पुलवामा में जो हुआ था, पुलवामा में इतने सारे हमारा जवान भाई जान चला गया उसका, कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, उसका कोई एग्जैक्ट कॉज, वो जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन वो अभी तक नहीं हुआ। तो हमारा ये कहना है, तो वो जवानों भाइयों, वो तो जस्टिस उसको नहीं मिला था। तो इसलिए अगर जवान भाइयों ने बॉर्डर छोड़कर काम बंद करके यहां पर आए तो वो तो नहीं हो सकता है, और वो करेंगे भी नहीं। उनके लिए देश पहले है, तो डॉक्टर्स के लिए भी पेशेंट्स पहले है। उसका प्रोटेस्ट करने का पूरा हक है। उसका प्रोटेस्ट करने के लिए जो प्रोग्राम्स है वो लेना पूरा हक है, लेकिन वो काम बंद करना, ट्रीटमेंट बंद करना, ये उसका हक नहीं है। इसीलिए मैंने डॉक्टर्स लोगों को रिक्वेस्ट किया और ये कंपेयर किया।
My guest this evening for a quick chat, Radhika B Shah is spokesperson of the BJP. Touseef Ahmed Khan is lawyer. He's a lawyer. He's a political analyst. And Dr. Sanjeev Bagai is chairperson of the Nephron clinic. Touseef Ahmed Khan, you have the rather difficult task this evening of trying to decipher for us what exactly Mr. Kunal Ghosh is trying to say. Is he calling doctors anti-nationals for not going to work, for not going to hospital, for not treating patients? Because that is what it sounded like to me.
No, you see, there are certain professions like doctors or lawyers. You know, we are not supposed to go on a strike and stop the services that we are providing. For example, if lawyers go on a strike in High Court and they do not appear in the matters, there's a Supreme Court ruling which specifically bans. So there are other ways of protest. We can register our protest. Similarly, he is saying that although the protest is justified and they have all the right to express their anger, they have all the right to register their protest, and they can keep on protesting as long as they want, for as long as they're satisfied that the justice is done. But they must think to get back to work. Because what is happening in their absence in hospital is that other patient party, they are inconvenienced. In fact, it has resulted in few deaths also. In the beginning, when the whole protest started in the beginning, 3 days, 2 deaths was reported, one being a baby. So, you know, we are in a very peculiar situation and we need to balance this out. And this was one of the things that was discussed before the Supreme Court as well. When the Supreme Court said that CISF will guard the RG Kar hospital, at the same time, there was a request from the bench that the doctors must, you know, get back to the work. No one is saying to stop their protest. There's a request to resume the hospital services.
Mr. Ghosh has made a comparison with Pulwama. No, Touseef, Mr. Ghosh has made a comparison with Pulwama. We know what happened in Pulwama. There's a CRPF convoy that is going, it gets attacked, 40 of our Jawans are killed. This is on 14th of February. Then what happens? What is the response of the government of India after the Pulwama attack happens? A Balakot strike happens, right? Here, instead of having a Balakot airstrike-like situation against the people under whose watch the rape and murder happened, you are doing a Balakot-type strike on people like Sourav Ganguly who want to attend the protests. How are you even comparing this with Pulwama? What was even the logic? Bizarre logic.
Shreya, there is...
Today, you have not even let your tallest sports star, Sourav Ganguly, attend the protests. That is how scared the Mamata Banerjee government is right now.
No, there are protests everywhere across the city. I myself was part of the protest march from High Court yesterday, day before yesterday, and even today. Group of lawyers under various banners, they are taking out protests, and the demand is for justice for the victim and the family. But Pulwama cannot be any comparison to this incident. Pulwama altogether is a different,
Correct. Which is why what Mr. Ghosh said is nonsensical. You are agreeing to that as well.
No, if I had been in his place, as I compared it with lawyers and legal, bar by the Supreme Court on protest and not attending the court, I would rather compare lawyers in protest not attending the court with the doctors in protest not attending the hospital. I would rather compare that, because this is more appealing to me than talking about Pulwama.
You have still not answered my question, and we are getting those live shots, by the way, of the protest that Sourav Ganguly was supposed to be part of. He was supposed to be part of a protest at Eden Garden today, this afternoon. All sports people were going to protest against what's happened in Kolkata. He didn't show up there. We were told he'd come in the evening.
On the screen, that is Sourav Ganguly's
So he hasn't shown up here. Yes, sir, I know that. That's exactly what I have said. That is Sourav Ganguly's wife, Dola. Now the point is he was supposed to be there as well, but the Kolkata police denied him security. They said, "Hamare paas security nahi hai." What do you make of Dr. Bagai?
Good evening, everyone. I think this full tragic saga is going from bizarre to absolutely absurd. And I would only request the TMC people to speak less. And if I was in their place, I would have met the doctors on day one on the streets, sat with them, sat with the delegation of the Resident Association, sat with the delegation of the Indian Medical Association, and given them something in writing as concrete steps. It doesn't take High Court of the local state, Calcutta, or the Honorable Supreme Court and the Honorable Chief Justice of India to highlight what they should have done years back. Within 24 to 48 hours, they could have beefed up the security in a proper manner, had access cards for entry and exit, have CCTV cameras installed, remove the dark alley cul-de-sacs, have proper restrooms and toilet and other facilities for men and female as far as resident staff is concerned, proper female security guards at night. These are simple things which could have been done on day one, day two itself. Even now, Mamata Banerjee should meet the delegation of the doctors personally. She should take the initiative. After all, this impasse has to end. It is for the benefit of everyone, for the patients and for the doctors. Doctors want a comfort and a complete assurance, security that no life will be threatened and they will not be threatened, humiliated. You can't have vandals coming and butchering the hospital in 5,000, 6,000, 4,000, how many ever they came, trying to scale the walls to women's hostels. This is totally unacceptable.
Sure.
I think the ball now squarely lies in Mamata Banerjee's court. She should reach out. She is in a position of power.
Curbing protests will not help.
Viciously.
Dr. Bagai, you are telling me that trying to curb protests will not help. Trying to keep someone like a Sourav Ganguly away from these protests will not help. What will help is that you do your job and you secure hospitals under your watch.
And meet the doctors, meet the IMA.
Radhika Bhattacharya, meet the doctors. Radhika Bhattacharya Shah, here's the point. I'm just going to come back to the Sourav Ganguly point before I come back to whether the doctors should end their strike now or not. But why do you think Sourav has been stalled by Didi? Because there is an argument which is to be made that police personnel right now are too busy with the protests. There are simply not enough hands and legs to go around, and we can't VVIP in a situation like this?
It is, first, Mr. Kunal Ghosh's statement was ridiculous. I mean, this guy definitely suffers from the foot and mouth disease. This guy just doesn't know that he shouldn't bring in the armed forces in any discussions or mention the armed forces in zest, because this is not a Pulwama. And also my colleague from TMC on this panel should take...
Can you give me a minute? Can you give me a minute? I just want to make a point about the fact that the BJP is a master at bringing armed forces in. But for the moment, Sourav Ganguly's daughter is speaking. I'll quickly cut across to that, Radhika ji, and come back to you.
This still happens, so we need to stop. Like, this has to stop. Aki kotha, shasti hawa uchi.
Okay. Radhika ji, please go ahead. So, Sourav Ganguly's wife, his daughter are at the protest, but Sourav Ganguly himself couldn't come because the West Bengal government ensured that he keeps away. But go ahead.
Okay.
Continue making your point, please.
We are frightened into sleepless nights because this sort of a people's protest is unprecedented. We all thought that Bengalis would never react. We wondered, when will the change take place? When will people come out on the streets? How much longer will people bear this sort of a despotic regime under the Honorable Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee? Now, what is even more ridiculous is Sourav Ganguly is unsafe, but his wife and his daughters are safe in a protest. I mean, how ridiculous can this be? And why would anybody of eminence need protection? They're all a part of a people's protest. They are a part of the civil society who are absolutely disheartened by what has happened. Now, Touseef ji mentioning that lawyers...
Touseef Ahmed Khan.
Can I just finish this, please? Now, lawyers do not get raped in the alleyways of our courtrooms. And if you give me a little bit of time, Shreya, today, let me mention the dark and sinister and horrible and illegal and immoral background of this 138-year-old hospital called the RG Kar. Can I just mention everything that has been happening there? In 2023, for example, an intern died of overdose. Cause was mentioned as depression. In 2020, a 25-year-old junior doctor jumps from the 6th floor. Apparently, she committed suicide, jumping off from the same emergency building where Dr. Abhaya's body was found. In 2016, a severely decomposed body of a professor of RG Kar was found in his South Damdam home. And there were bruises on his face. Again, no suicide note, but again, the connection with RG Kar. In 2001, 2002, there was a very, very sinister Dr. Soumitra.
What is the point you're making?
That this hospital has had a terrible history with the safety and security of all its people. Now, what is even more interesting is that, according to students, a deadly cocktail of pornography, prostitution, sleazy deals with women have resulted in doctors' deaths. Why was Dr. Abhaya, of all the people chosen, to be the victim? What did she know?
Radhika ji, the fact is that a lot of things are being said, right, about what was happening at RG Kar Hospital. Right. We are not in a position to verify it. The CBI is now in charge and they will tell us what exactly was happening. But Touseef Ahmed Khan is someone who's representing the TMC. Can I please ask you what was the law and order situation the Kolkata police was anticipating if Sourav Ganguly showed up on the streets of Calcutta? The law and order problem that the West Bengal police should have anticipated was when doctors were taking out a peaceful protest and saying we are reclaiming the night. तब तो कोई anticipation नहीं हुआ, खड़ी रही police. अब they are trying to stop one person. Just because if he shows up at a protest, it will be the front page news in every newspaper. Not just in Calcutta, but everywhere else in the country. What are you trying to do? You're trying to control optics. Nahi hoga. Optics are out of control for Mamata Banerjee right now, and for the right reasons.
No, Shreya, it is a normal practice, a usual practice from the police department that whenever a protest is being organized anywhere out in the street in a public space, then police has to assess the situation and give a permission to that. Every protest march have to obtain a prior permission from the Kolkata police for traffic reasons as well as for public safety and security reasons. We have seen that, there may be group of peaceful protesters, but some bad elements, some lumpen elements can enter those.
What are you saying? The protest already has permission. His wife and his daughter are there.
That is fine. That is
Touseef,
fine.
what are you saying? You're a lawyer. Protest already has permission. His wife and his daughter were there.
No, Shreya, let me complete, please. You see, the point is not only permission. The point is also the public safety and security. And a VVIP like Sourav Ganguly comes, and God forbid anything happens. If a bad element enters the peaceful protesters and create a ruckus over there, are you saying that there are all everyone here is honest and all protesters
anticipation
are
you
peaceful?
should have done on 14th.
So, then the incident in
No.
Ajika
All this anticipation doesn't happen on the 14th when peaceful protesters and peaceful protests are infiltrated by vandals. All this anticipation doesn't happen then. It is happening now. Dr. Bagai, would you want to come in here? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in West Bengal? Is this an attempt to curb dissent?
I think the only way forward for the West Bengal government to reach out to the resident medical community, reach out to the Indian Medical Association. The first most important thing is to admit where the lapses have occurred. The best step forward is to recognize where the cracks were, fill in the cracks so that it is never repeated again. Admit to the faults, lay out a charter of what you're going to do in the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, show results on the ground, win the confidence back, win the trust back, win the honor back of the doctors. Doctors are not trained for 20 years of academic and another 20 years of hard work in the wards, ICUs and operation theaters to sit on the streets. We are scared. The young daughters who we are sending to the hospitals are scared. We cannot lose another life. I am again requesting Mamata Banerjee, on behalf of the doctors, meet the doctors.
I hope she's hearing you today.
Listen to them personally. Fulfill their demands.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Dr. Bagai, thank you very much. Radhika Bhattacharya, thank you very much. And Touseef Ahmed Khan, thank you very much. We're also hearing from Dona Ganguly, who is Sourav Ganguly's wife, leading that protest now in place of Sourav Ganguly. Let's listen into what she's saying.
We are just protesting against rape. We need a safe society. We need a safe society. Shop mohila jate safe thake. Of course. তার জন্যই তো। আর শুধু একটা রেপ না, তুমি যদি লাস্ট 7 দিন ধরে দেখো এত রেপ হচ্ছে। So rape needs to stop.